So 16. Firearms component of police training. I got accepted to 2 different police academies after 2 failed attempts in 2 other police forces. I decided to enter the one that was able to take me sooner. 6 months of unemployment was sufficient for me, including several weeks of recovering from the broken collarbone. Once my clavicle healed, I trained by doing some running, push-ups and other exercises to be up to the police force standard. It seemed that genetically my eyesight was not up to standard, but thanks to the modern technology, where there's a will, there's a way. The only temporary jobs I got a chance to do during my 6 months unemployment was working at the showgrounds, selling tickets for 10 days straight, and one day talking about the painting in the gallery as a fun promotion game. Now 6 months in the police academy awaited me. There was 4 months of legislation and theory, driver's training, defensive tactics, and the firearm component, which quickly became my favorite. First day of firearms, my hands were shaking and my heart was pounding. I've got real gun with real bullets, I thought to myself. Any small breach of safety and I will lose my chance of being a police officer. I repeated safety rule 3 to myself. Keep your finger off the trigger and outside of the trigger guard until your sights are on target and you have decided to fire. One guy, 2 squads before me, was transferred to auxiliaries for keeping his finger on the trigger whilst holstering up. Okay, so I knew to learn from this mistake and not to do that. I feel like my mind was not cooperating with my motor skills. They were on their own. I know one way for my mind to stop interfering with what I was trying to learn is to find a passage in the Testament that it was alright to shoot someone in self-defense. I asked my brother and a good friend who went to a private school for some answers, but I still had none. Our instructor only said that it does not say anywhere in the Bible that you cannot kill in self-defense. He didn't seem very convincing to me, especially because I think he is not even a believer. So there I was, standing in a line with 7 of my other squad mates, 4 meters away from our cardboard targets. We got a command to fire. I told myself not to rush anything because that is when I'm likely to stuff up. Someone fired. It was so loud, even with earmuffs on. The sound made me scared. For a moment, I thought I won't be able to go on with this training and that I would have to quit. I quickly pulled the trigger, and this set the tone for my shooting. I was smashing the trigger, resulting in shots being placed at 6 o'clock. In fact, there were shots in the 7 o'clock region that were referred to as hurry up and get it over with. I had a few of those too. I remember coming back home on the bus from the shooting range that day. I did not talk to my colleagues. I felt as if I was involved in the real shooting. My sleep that night was not peaceful either. I got emails from my friend and my brother. This is exactly what I needed. I was glad to have God by my side, rather than against what I was doing. Come day 2 of the training, and I tried to isolate my feelings from the actions. Returning from the session, I was talkative and even said to my colleagues that I felt as if the police was paying us to do some people's hobby. I kept my mobile phone in my trouser pocket, but for firearms training I tried to remember to switch it off, rather than put it on vibrate. This is one day on the shooting range I forgot to switch it off. A colleague by the name Brad called me while I had my pistol in the guard position, pointing to the ground, but at an angle of 45 degrees. I was so glad that the timing was not too bad, as I have the reputation for being jumpy, especially when the phone rings or vibrates, freaking me out on some occasions. I made a mental note to myself to switch it off at the nearest convenience without the instructors looking, of course. My squad mates and I went back behind the benches to reload. After I filled my both magazines with rounds, I reached for my phone and I thought I switched it off. Instead, I dialed Brad, whom I had the missed call from. If he wasn't a police officer himself, he probably would have got a shock, because this time we were shouting, "Police, drop the weapon! Police, drop the weapon!" followed by firing 3 shots. Brad later told me he recognized my screams because of my accent. Good, I was loud enough among 6 guys and 1 other girl, but then again, my phone was in my pocket, not theirs. What seems like a funny story now could have taken a nasty turn. I'm so thankful that instead of shooting myself in the foot, I just had to pay for a phone call I didn't intend to make. Brad realized that I was not there to talk to him, but he decided to still hang on and listen to what was going on for good 5 minutes.